Foundation of action learning is to recognize that in a world which is changing very quickly, where things aren't quite the same tomorrow as they were yesterday, you have to think very differently and you have to learn very differently about what's going on. That's time. And we're reaching here the year 2000. People say America was discovered by a chap called Christopher Columbus back here in 1492, but I'll write 1500 in there. Now, how fast did Christopher Columbus travel when he came here? It took him 35 days to reach Watling Island. His velocity then was pretty slight. If you divide the 3,000 odd miles that he traveled by 35, you find he was going at about 4 miles an hour. Well, I myself, a little later than Christopher Columbus, it's true, I was first invited here in 1929, and then I had to travel also in a boat, and that took 8 days. So it took 8 days from Southampton to wherever it was I went to, yes, New York. I was going about 4 times as fast about here, 8 days instead of 35. But then a little later on, just after the war, before 1960, in the very early days, I flew the Atlantic, and in those days, flying was still quite something quite fresh, and we had to stop in Newfoundland and then fly on to. I think my total journey from I went from London to New York was about 22 hours, so I was going quite a lot faster. But then, now when we come, I've actually crossed the Atlantic in a Concorde, and the speed there is right up here. So all I'm trying to do now is to draw a line to show that in the period I've been talking about, things are changing. This is the maximum speed of human travel in crossing the Atlantic Ocean. But of course, it's not only the speed we can move our bodies from one point to another which is changing. If you look at the speed with which we're now dealing with data, information, figures, how long it would have taken Christopher Columbus to work out the factors of his telephone number, I don't know. But then around here, somebody invented logarithms, and then, of course, we've now got computers. If you do a similar curve using different dimensions, of course, well, not the movement of your physical body, but your measurable ideas. Now this is the point. We all happen to be living here. There, well, here, you say, draw it where you like. But the point I'm trying to make is we're living in a world that's changing very, very quickly. So let's call that C for the rate of change. Now, the question is, how do we adapt to change? How do we pick up new ideas? And I'm going to call that learning, L for learning. Now, what's going to happen, or what is happening, if the rate of change is greater than the rate of learning? If that's the mathematical way of putting it. If the change is greater than the rate of learning, the answer is trouble.